Yes, it's working. Okay, so today we're going to talk about solving quadratic equations. Yes. Up to this point, I have not given you equations with quadratics. Now, how do you know something is a quadratic and what is a quadratic? Anybody remember?
It doesn't have like quad. It's like
And radic.
four.
Radic. It's radic.
So it's
Radical.
four.
It's what? It's for
Radix.
radix.
For radix.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. Okay, so what shape is a quadratic? No. No. So what's the other shape? Yeah, what is that called? The parabola, right? So a quadratic is a parabola. And a quadratic, how do you know something is like, what is this? Y equals 2x plus 3. Is that
No.
equation?
Yeah.
What is that? What form is that in?
Y equals Y. I mean,
Y equals mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b. Is y equals mx plus b a straight line or a parabola?
Straight line.
Think about how you graph those, right? It's a straight line, right? So that is not a quadratic equation. That is a straight line equation. And that is in the slope. This is your slope, remember? Slope, intercept formula, right? We're going to know when something is a quadratic equation, you have an x squared. And an x squared is y. If you think about it, it's y. It turns around again on the graph, because once something becomes negative, right? As soon as you got an x, when x is positive 1, it's y is 1 squared, which is 1. When x is positive 2, y is 2 squared, which is 4. When x is negative 1, negative 1 squared is positive 1. It goes up again, right? Even though it's negative, you're going to the left. That squared makes everything positive. Does that make sense? So that's why it curves around, and that's what turns it into a parabola, right? So we're going to be dealing with these parabolas and quadratics. Now, up until this point, I have not ever asked you to solve one. I've only asked you to factor one, right? And we're going to get into more of this this week too, but I'm not going to do the ones that you've already learned how to factor. I'm going to do something a little simpler for now, because it's a very useful approach. What happened to my eraser? Lovely. Okay. Hopefully this works. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What if I gave you an equation like this? X squared equals 9. How could you solve it for, I want to know what x is. I don't want to know what x squared is. I want to know what x is. How could I solve that? I could just not solve it, right? But then I wouldn't get any money, and that would be a bummer, right?
Do you mean like graphing it, or just?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you mean like graphing it?
Not now. When I say, that's a good question, actually. I didn't explain something. When I say solve, I mean I want it to say x equals. Whenever I say solve, I want to know what is x equal.
So what do you
Okay, so how,
Oh.
Una. Oh my God, light bulbs, right? Una.
I'd be like totally wrong.
Wait.
Because it's the morning,
Okay.
but okay, since it's to the second power and then 9, like 3 to the second power, I think is 9.
Okay, so Una's noticing that 3, if we made x equal, is equal to 9, right? All right, so that's true. Did anybody else have another idea of how to solve it? Yeah.
Like do the divider on each side, but
Meaning what?
like you put the line under the x and the line under the 2.
Yeah, except there's nothing to divide by because there's no number in front of it.
You could put it under the 2 on the top. Yeah.
Well, you can't, but you can't just divide by 2. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean like under the. Never mind.
Underneath this 2?
Never mind.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're actually close. You're very close. Does anybody have an idea? How do you turn an x squared into an x?
X times 1x times 1x is 1x.
Oh, you divide it by x?
How do you turn 9 into a 3? Besides dividing by 3, what's another way? You could take the
I can turn it into a
Negative.
fraction?
square.
Under the negative square root.
What? What? Square roots? What?
What?
Square roots, right? Square root.
What?
What is the square root of 9?
3.
So what is the square root of x squared? So could you, I need a eraser. Could you actually do this? Could you take the square root of this side? Now, whatever I do to one side, I have to do exactly to the other, right? So I'm going to take the square root of this side.
Oh, this is what
You guys remember square roots? Does everybody know square roots?
Yeah.
All right. What's the square root of x squared?
X.
X, that's what we want. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Equals, what's the square root of 9?
3.
3. That's one of the answers. Positive 3. What's another answer, possibly?
Negative 3.
Could it be negative 3?
Yes.
Negative 3 times negative 3 is what?
9.
Oh my God.
There we
So it could be positive 3 or negative 3, right? So I could either write it like this, or the fancy way is to just do this, plus or minus 3.
Looks like you're underlining.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah, it looks like you're underlining the plus, but that's called plus or minus. So that's what you want to get in the habit of doing. Whenever you, okay, whenever you're dealing with quadratic equations, when you take the square root of, when you square root both sides like this answer will always be plus or minus, okay? So in the past, you learned that the square root of 9 was 3, right? And that is true. When you're not dealing with quadratics, you just assume it's going to be a positive 3. But when you're dealing with a quadratic equation and you take the square root of 9, it now becomes plus or minus 3. What's the square root of 25? What?
5.
Almost. What?
5 times 5.
5 times 5 equals 25. So.
No, that's wrong.
What?
It's
Wait, no. It's,
Wait.
Yeah,
Plus-
5 times
Plus what the
oh, wow.
underline
Plus
and then
or minus 5.
Oh.
It could be positive 5, which is what you're used to, but it could also be negative 5.
Why?
because negative.
And the reason with quadratic equations you have to do this is that will actually give you the curve when you're graphing.
What are quadratics good for?
It's a good question. I don't know if I want to get there yet, but you're going to get there. We're going to be doing word problems and stuff. You'll start to see it. But wait, shh, guys. Wait, sorry. Guys, I can't hear her. Yeah?
Use the restroom.
Wait, Oliver, please stop. I'm going to move.
Please use the restroom.
Oh.
Can I use the restroom?
I'm glad we were quiet so that you could ask that question.
This is gonna be a fun
Okay.
video.
What is the square root of 36?
6.
6.
Plus
6.
Plus
What else?
Plus or minus 6.
Plus or minus 6. What's the square root of 100?
5, 10. 10.
X minus 10.
10 or minus 10.
Plus or minus 10.
That's what I said.
What's the square root of 81?
9. Plus or minus 9.
Plus or minus 9.
You knew me,
What's the
Gary.
square root of 49?
Plus or minus 7.
All right, what's the square root of 144?
12.
Whoa! Plus or minus.
Okay, very good. You got it. You got it. Is that all off the screen?
No, I said it first to stop.
Oh well. Okay, so you got the idea. So, without my... All right, so here we go. We've got x squared equals 49. How do I solve it?
7.
How do I solve it?
It's
X.
X minus.
Yeah, but how do I solve it? What do I
So
do?
would you like?
Guys,
you do
Oliver. I'll-
Mark line.
Yeah, what is it called?
Square root.
Square root, right? You've got to show your work. You've got to show your work. You don't just give me the answer. You got to show your work. So you show, oh, I'm square rooting both sides. Now I've got x is equal to what?
7
No.
or 9.
It's
No.
X or minus not.
Plus
Plus or minus 7.
or minus 7.
Oh,
Okay.
You tricked me.
I know I did, right? Okay, that was your first example. Okay, next example. X squared. What am I doing? Giving you
He's
that.
already doing the squares.
Right. All right. X squared is equal to 16.
Oh, that's gonna be 8.
X,
No, wait, no.
X.
How do I solve it?
You gotta
You
do
do
x
the-
equals plus or
No.
minus.
No,
Plus
you
or
have to
minus
do
four.
the little.
So,
checky
Luca,
thing,
you
the
gotta
square root.
tell me what to
Square
do.
root.
Square root both sides, right? Square root
Yeah.
both sides.
Oh, sorry, I already did
I
that.
got x is equal to what?
Plus 8.
X
No,
is
plus-
equal to
plus-
4.
Plus or minus 4.
Plus or minus 4. Okay. Next one. Square root. What? I keep doing that. Next one. X squared is equal to 64. What do I do?
Oh, put the square root.
Square root both sides. Square root both sides.
He said screw.
Yep.
64, this is 8.
Square root.
Right?
Oh,
8.
8, yeah.
What?
That one.
8.
Okay, Brianna.
I know my
Okay, but what do I do? Square root of x squared is x.
No,
Equals. Plus or minus 8. Okay? All right, how about this?
Wait, I'm not even.
Okay, there we go. Now what would I do?
You haven't taught us.
Wait, would that be?
It doesn't matter. Maybe you are mathematicians. You can figure it out.
Would it be
Give me a few days.
5 by 2.
Give me a few days.
So let's listen to ideas. Do you guys agree?
Would you just square root the X?
One idea was just given. What was your idea?
5 by 2.
Divide. Why would I divide by 2?
Because there's 2x.
There's a coefficient. It's
That's
not
gonna be 15.
There is a coefficient in front of the x squared, right? I don't want that coefficient there, right? I want to say x squared equals. Guys?
X squared
Guys?
equals 25.
Okay.
Got it. Okay, so that's gonna
So
be
divide by 2. I got x squared is equal to 25. Now what do I do?
equals how many? What goes into 25?
So-
Square root of 25.
5.
Plus
Take the
minus
square
5.
root of both sides.
Okay, x equals plus or
And then
minus
so
5.
would be.
Beautiful. That's right. Well done.
Beautiful. I love how you
You got it. Okay, 5. Okay, 3x squared equals 48.
Divide by 3.
Okay, divide by 3. Divide by 3.
That would be
Oh, wait.
16.
16. Okay, x squared equals 16. Now what would I do?
Use your square root.
Square root both sides. What's the answer? X is equal to plus or minus 4. Good,
Wait,
good.
did we already do
Yes?
that?
Are you?
Well, yeah, but
Oh,
I started here, right? Are you writing all these down?
yeah.
Okay, good. Yes.
Are you gonna put negatives in the homework?
I don't think so.
Thank you. I don't want negatives.
Because that's a really great question. It's a really great question.
Wait, can
Um,
you do that with negatives?
Oh, you would actually like negatives on these in
Wait, no, you
particular.
could still do it because just be minus or plus, or wait. So
Well,
plus or
you would
minus?
really like
The minus
negatives.
sign you have
Trust
to
me. All right, I'll just show you. It's not on the homework, but I'll show you real quickly.
Okay.
Last time I tried to do it.
4, 5. Okay.
It was a psychotic issue.
You can get me open. What are you guys talking about?
He gave me a banana and I exploded.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just thought that's what Max said.
I never think you trust me.
I don't know, but a banana.
Alright, so
When
guys,
you
guys,
say banana,
guys,
it implies-
Guys, this is a video, okay? Remember? So, I'll just do one. Call this number 6 with a negative, okay? X squared is equal to negative 4. What would I do?
You would.
What did it figure?
Square root both sides, right? Square root both sides.
Yeah, so
I'm going to square root this side, and I'm going to square root this side. Notice I square rooted, I put the negative inside with the 4. Square rooted the whole thing.
So would it be opposite?
So x is equal to, what times itself equals negative 4?
4 times 1.
No.
2.
What times itself?
-2.
Remember, square root means it's got to be.
2 times -2.
But that's not the same number.
Yeah.
No,
It has to be 2
4
times 2 or something like that.
Right. It's got to be 2 times 2.
With
If that equals positive 4.
Then somebody.
Well, it's got to be -2 times -2.
No, that's a
That also
positive.
equals
Negative times
positive
negative
four.
is positive. Unless
So are
do
you
4
telling me
times
that
1.
there? Are you telling me you have the guts to tell me, Oliver, that there's no possible answer to
No,
that?
I don't have those guts.
Luca has those guts, right?
What? I'm just spitting out answers.
I do.
Okay, Shelby has the guts, right, to say this, right? That
Shelby.
it's impossible to find a number that times itself equals a negative number. Because to get a negative number, to multiply two numbers to get a negative, one of them has to be positive and the other one has to be negative.
Dang,
So it's impossible. So you would actually say
0. Oh my god.
no solution.
X equals
Oh.
no solution. That's my favorite.
Now, I'll just tell you, the beauty of algebra is that in algebra 2, you're going to actually learn how to solve this. There's a little secret, but technically and in reality, it is no solution. What you will learn in algebra 2 are things called imaginary numbers.
What are
And imaginary numbers are numbers that don't really exist. You know, kind of go figure. But so there is a way to use this information. But for now, whenever you have the square root of a negative number, you know there's no solution. You just write no solution. Piece of cake, right? It's easier than solving it. You know what I mean? You can immediately see that. Okay, a few more. How about not with these now? Let's just go back to what's going to be on the homework. What if I said x squared plus 1 is equal to 37?
You minus 1.
Minus 1? You guys agree with that?
Yeah, you do. I do.
On both sides.
You don't want to do this?
No.
No, I don't either. That would be a nightmare. Okay, so I would subtract 1, and that gives me x squared is equal to 36. Now what would I do?
You do the square.
Square root both sides, so I got x is equal to plus or minus 6. Right? Just to 5. Are you guys getting this? Is it making sense to you?
And the other class
Awesome.
said this was hard.
What?
And the other class, when they were like Nate's class said that when they were doing this, it would be hard.
Oh, really? This is a real useful thing to learn, and it's really easy. So I don't think anything else is too hard. What if I did? Let's do one more. Let's just do one more. This is number 8, right? All right, number 8. Let's see here. How do I do this? How about I said 2x squared plus, let me think, plus 40 equals 240.
Whoa, minus 40.
Okay, you guys agree? I would minus 40 first.
Minus 40 and then
Okay.
no,
by 2.
Minus 40.
2x
Minus 40.
200.
Wait, 2x squared is equal to 200.
X squared, but then that's going to be a 100.
Yes?
After we're done with this, can I say another way
Wait,
we could
guys,
solve this
this table has to be quiet. What?
I figured out, I thought of another way you could solve this problem, but we could do it after.
Okay, we'll do it after because I'd like to see it. Yes.
Then you subtract divide by 2.
Divide by
And then
2,
you get
divide by
x squared
2,
equals 100, and then you're going to square that,
square root
square root that, and then you're going to get x equals plus or minus, I forgot what to do.
What times what equals 100?
Oh, 10.
Yeah.
10.
There you go. That's it. You did it. Great. So you know everything you need to know to do this homework. You'll do it in 10 minutes at the most.
I forget
Okay.
that's your minus.
And I think, so just to review, just to remind you, when I say solve, that means there's going to be an equation, there's going to be an equal sign. And you have to tell me what does x equal. Solve means tell me what x equals, okay? And we'll talk more